Hello everybody, welcome. I'm so excited. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I've been wanting to talk about for so long. I've been wanting to clear up so much of this, and to be honest, I've been avoiding talking about it just because it's such a can of worms, talking about auras and how to perceive auras, but I've been really prompted lately because of my meditations and what I'm receiving from my guides to really just talk to you guys more about this and really introduce this more in a way that can help you become empowered. Because what I've seen with aura colors in the past is people just talking about aura colors in sort of a hierarchy sort of way. There are people who don't have enough understanding about the colors and about the textures as well, and the different sort of phenomena that manifest within the auric field. Understanding this helps us understand ourselves better. They help us understand and how we interact with other people in the world better. They help us understand our boundaries better. They help us understand how to attune to people better, how to convey information to them in a way that they're able to receive it better, as well as not projecting meaning onto the ways people choose to communicate to you that may be triggering to you. Maybe you don't understand the way how a red might communicate. For example, lots of you guys on here are blues. Blues are super nurturing, empathic. They are intuitives. They're very fluid in that way. And if they're to communicate with a red, reds are very forward. They're very passionate. Sometimes they can lack empathy, but in a way that serves them, because there are people in the world that, having too many emotions around executing certain tasks, for example, leading businesses and things like that, where, just overthinking can be like the downfall of a lot of blues, for example. Reds don't do that. They're just like, what is the goal? First, reds are like, what is the problem? Okay, here's a problem. Let's work to a solution. I don't care about how you got to the problem. I don't care what happened. I just know how to solve this problem. So we're going to solve this problem. And there are people in the world who, there are places in the world for people like that, So it helps us understand where we fit in the world. It helps us understand how to communicate with people who are different than us. It helps us step outside of our bubble and understand other people a little bit more. Exercise empathy to people who are not blues, for example. And I'm talking about that because there's so many of you guys who are blues or the purple spectrum, and we're going to be talking about spectrums of color as well, because they all are connected, right? The blue spectrum, the blues, turquoises, that falls into a little bit of green as well, though. The purples, for example, and then they all kind of are intuitive. They're more spiritual colors, for example, but there's so many other layers of this, okay? And shades of colors that represent slight deviances or slight separation and distinction from other colors as well, okay? Understanding and perceiving auras has helped me, okay, find my place in the world better. It has helped me feel more secure. It's helped me have so much less anxiety, just being able to just know what to expect by Mr. Orange coming down the street over here, or what to expect from this vibrant yellow coming down the way, It helps me know what part of me to evoke more, what colors I should shine more in certain interactions that will help me get more of what I'm looking for from that interaction, for example, or feel more balanced in that interaction. You guys, everything is vibration, everything is energy. So when we can attune to that lens of reality vibrationally, it helps us understand everything that is represented through vibration, emotions, actions, behaviors, everything, manifestations, physical manifestations. We're going to be talking about this too. These are all connected, okay? Auras, not just aura colors. We're talking about auras in general. When I watch somebody, I can tell how abundant they are in their life. I can tell how much love they have in their life by the amount of giving and receiving that they have in their aura. When their aura, the light in their aura is a giving and receiving sort of motion, right? Where it's just like energy is coming and going simultaneously, as within, so without, right? That is not just a saying, that's vibrational. And what that equals is abundance. And love is also, when someone is abundant, they also have a lot of love in their life, right? The universe doesn't project that abundance means money just like humans do. Abundance is just a full life, okay? So, for example, as I'm speaking here, you're seeing a lot of violet. You're going to be seeing a lot of like purples, violets energy around me right now. Some blues kind of like hewing out of the top of my aura as well. Just saying that because I want you guys to be able to see what's happening. You can verify this information. You don't have to accept anything blindly anymore in this world. You can perceive it vibrationally. You can actually see it. And it has helped me so much with deprogramming myself from just the world's programming like we just talked about as well. Just being able to verify, okay, this is what I intuit from people, and this is what I'm literally seeing with my eyes. I'm intuiting this person is like this, and now I'm seeing that it is represented by their blue aura and their yellow or whatever, Cody is indigo, violet, yellow. Okay, so Cody looks like he is a teacher, right? He's speaking with a lot of power and a lot of vigor, and he's connected as he's speaking to something higher than him. That is characteristic of the violets or the purples, right? He's also sensitive. He's also feeling into everybody who's watching, things like that. That is characteristics of the blues. He's indigo though, right? So it's not just any kind of blue, right? Blues are a little bit more buffered than indigos, for example. Indigos are more because of it's more like depth, right? It's conjured from a deeper place. Not a necessarily better place, just a deeper place. It's sort of coded with this purpose of, this is my story, this is my trauma, and this is how I show up. A lot of you are indigos on here as well. So indigos are not very popular now. Indigos are not very rare anymore. You hear about indigo, people talk about indigos like they are more rare than a lot of the other colors, to be honest, but nowadays, I see indigos all over the world, and it's beautiful to see that, because what that means is the indigos have infiltrated our world. Very high consciousness beings who are just powered by so much depth of consciousness, and a desire to make people see and feel what they're too afraid to talk about. The indigos are here to do that, for example. My yellow helps me balance out my indigo a lot. That's the social aspect of me. So if I'm connecting with you on a friendship level and we're hanging out, a lot of the yellow will come out, right? That'll feel a lot different than the indigo, right? The indigo comes out a lot more when I'm singing or doing music, for example. As a musician, I'm conjuring from emotion. Art is pulled from a different place. So you'll see artists as well who are indigos, but really the indigos, they'll be like, you won't see a lot of indigos or crystals, for example, in the public eye. But they will often be behind people in the public eye. Like the mastermind behind the scenes is just like orchestrating all of it, Crystals are a little bit, are different, okay? They're a little bit less passionate than the indigos, but they have the same sort of evolved consciousness. They're just like, oh, well, I get that. I don't need to fight that fight, but I just want to live it, They're just like, okay, so I get this. So now, they can be like teachers, but not necessarily like, they could be spiritual teachers, of course. But you'll see them often as like a librarian even, or like, even receptionists, just people like who they won't necessarily channel their purposes into their work or jobs. They're just like, that's just a quality of who they are. Crystals are reflective in nature, in their auras. It's very prismatic. A lot of psychics don't even perceive the crystal aura. They don't even consider it an aura color. So that's a little bit of a semantic sort of thing with psychics, because you'll see a lot of people who are calling people colors and you're like, well, this person said they were this color, but you're saying this color. Well, the thing is, aura colors do change, they do shift. So you want to make sure, if you're comparing with like other psychics, for example, just make sure you're showing them the same picture. Because often, like, I have seen people be like, oh, this is a purple, oh wait, I see violet, you know. But it's again, they lend to one another. Shades of colors, you know, they are connected, but they are different, okay? It is objective what we are seeing, but there are people who perceive the same thing a little bit differently. That's just semantics, right? And explain it a little bit differently, right? So again, this can go on and on and on. There are also textures in the auric field as well. You could tell, again, when somebody's abundant, it's a giving, receiving sort of motion. Narcissistic people will have tentacles in the auric field, and there will be cords coming out of their field that are linking onto people and pulling them, attracting them, you know, courting them, essentially. And those people will become really defensive of those people, for example, because they're linked to that person in kind of an unhealthy way, to be honest. But they'll always find a way of sort of finding their way out of that, because there's a purpose behind everything. Even the unhealthy attachments that we find in our lives, there's always a purpose. There's nothing wrong. We're never doing life or being human wrong. There's no way to do human wrong. The purpose is to make mistakes and learn and evolve, right? Okay, so we can go on and on and on, but again, just to reiterate, the motivation to begin talking about this now is not to see where you stack up in the spiritual community. It's not to see, oh, this person is, oh, dang it, I wish I was that aura color instead of my aura color. The purpose of this is because it is the next layer of expansion of your consciousness, perceiving auras. You may have used to be able to perceive auras, but now you're being called into it again, because that is the direction of your expansion. It's not just about seeing auras. It's about what's going to be evoked through you now tapping into the frequency of the vibrational world around you. Okay, everything is layered with vibration. So when you tap into that frequency, that upper frequency, it's not just about auras that you're going to be seeing. You're going to be tapped into your higher awareness, your higher consciousness, your higher self, your inner being, whatever you want to call it, that has specific directives for you that's going to feel like impulses. So when you tap into the higher frequency of who you are, your truth, you will start receiving that energy of who you are in your eternal form. And that will feel like impulses. It'll feel like you're being driven. And when people don't have a lot of self-awareness yet, they haven't meditated, they don't meditate or things like that yet, they are not self-aware of when they're receiving the impulse. They'll just they'll just like, oh my God, I just finished doing this process or this meditation, and then I was just like, you know, I'm done. I'm going to the store. And you're not realizing that that was an impulse that you received from a higher vibrational frequency that you tuned into. So because of that frequency that you tuned into, you received an impulse to go to the store. And that is what Source is doing to you. Okay, Source is guiding you, kind of pulling you here and there and throughout, because there are things that they want you to pick up in those environments or in those spaces that's going to kind of lead you on a trail, okay? And they are a little bit, Source is tricking you a little bit in that what your answer might not be in the store that you just had an impulse to go to restock the fridge, you know? You receive that impulse of like the anxiety of the fridge being empty because of maybe somebody that you're meant to meet at the exact moment on your way home from the grocery store when you spotted something on the side of the road that you wanted to, you know, help someone out about, that you had to meet this person who has information for you that you've been looking for. Okay, that's crucial, that you know, oh my God, this is the universe like speaking to me right now. Something is happening that is beyond me right now. And I want you guys to begin paying attention to what preceded that moment, because you did that. That didn't just happen to you. You followed a trail vibrationally. So self-awareness is the key. The purpose of me talking about auras is because understanding your aura is helping you retain more self-awareness. Self-awareness helps us understand ourselves and our relationship to the world around us. Okay, this could go on and on and on. So what we're going to be doing moving forward is installing more joy and fun into the spiritual process. Seeing auras, and when I began seeing auras even more clearly, and as it began and it continued to just deepen and just go beyond that, because it's not just aura colors, again, there's also textures, there's also beings. You will see extraterrestrial, you'll see an extraterrestrial literally over my face, and a number of you will see different layers of the auras first. So just pay attention to what you see first. Maybe some of you are just seeing outlines around me. You're seeing my extraterrestrial form here because I'm channeling them really clearly right now. So you'll see it even in my face. My face will kind of take the form of like a creature, or an extraterrestrial form, So you'll be perceiving different layers of the field, and we want to make this fun for you, because what does fun and joy mean? Non-resistance. So inviting more fun you'll be surprised at how, think about the times in your life that you've had most fun in your spiritual awakening journey. Wasn't that the times you expanded the most? Isn't that the times you learned the most? Well, newsflash, guys, there is never going to be a point where you are done learning. There's always going to be more in the universe for you to learn about. And if you think you've learned it all, by God, you are damn wrong. There is so much more for you to know. You're like, oh, I understand the laws of the universe now. Dunzo, not dunzo. You've got so much more to learn. The universe is constantly expanding. If you pay attention to teachers who've been teaching the laws of the universe 40 years ago, will be different from what it is today, because we are constantly evolving. There will be new layers of these teachings to be shared. Ultimately, it's the same truth, but there will be more for you to learn. And the way that you know that you're being confronted with more to learn is because of resonance. Follow the resonance. And if you're not feeling that anymore, it's because you've fallen out of range of alignment with your source. So it's about everything in life is about alignment. The more alignment you become as well, the more you're going to be able to perceive vibration, energy, auras, things like that, okay? So what I want to do moving forward, again, because we want this to be fun, okay? This is about fun. Life is about fun. Being human is about fun. And that is your greatest leverage to learn things, expand, as well as get everything that you want out of life. Because that is the greatest state of non-resistance that you can access. And non-resistance, what that equates to is allowing in the eternal version of you. When you stop resisting your light enters you. And that light is energy. And what energy translates into is experiences, things that you want, your dreams manifesting into reality, the love of your life coming in, perfect, good health, okay? Miracles are real when you allow in the eternal version of you, okay? So like I said, when I'm doing these videos a lot of times, and when I'm really channeling my guides, really, violet. It will look like just a violet stream of energy that's coming through me really strongly. If it's sort of a blend, you'll see indigo and violet. Again, the indigo is a lot more of like the depth of my personality. It's where I conjure the information that my violet then projects out to speak to people in an impactful way. So the violet is very kind of like a bit of a leader in that sense, in a very kind of spiritual sense. The yellow will come out more in social settings. For example, the yellow is more motivated personality aspect. It's the part of me that is a bit of a perfectionist, that is more forward, and it helps balance out the indigo and the violet in me, in the sense that we're just gonna get the job done, sort of thing, So just understanding that alone, you kind of understand me a little bit more, right? Okay, this is why Cody is like this sometimes, or like this sometimes, or and like this sometimes. Well, that's because I'm a triple aura color, and there's a lot of you who are triple aura colors, by the way. And these do shift. Sometimes people will go into doubles or singles. So we're going to be talking about this in a very conversational way because I want you guys to develop this dialogue. What we're doing is what we're doing is developing a dialogue of vibration. And we're going to be able to describe things through vibration and through aura colors. Oh, okay, well, the reason why he was acting, he had his blue out a lot today. That's why he was like just not having it, wanted to just isolate and be by himself all day today. He was just, his indigo was just so strong today, or like, so and so is just like really, really just on a roll today, and just like, I don't know where that came from. That's because they were blue yellow, and their yellow was just super dominant today. So when you see somebody who's like in a different kind of mood, it's characterized by a different part of their aura that is more dominant, So you guys are beginning to kind of feel how this all connects a little bit. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for so long, and again, we can go on and on and on and on and on about this. So we're going to be doing more videos, again, obviously so much more in the in Patreon, of course. And if you guys are actively a patron, right, if you're a subscriber for the Patreon service, Divine Creators, patreon.com/Divine Creators. If you guys are on there and you're posting your aura colors on the Divine Creators group, post that you are a patron first, okay? Just let me know you're a patron, and I'll prioritize reading those ones first, okay? And the others I will get to at some point, if everyone else doesn't get to you first. I know how this goes usually with aura readings in these groups. They tend to just start flooding in. But what we're going to avoid are, just not making it a frenzy and making it more about just the enthusiasm and excitement of awakening and understanding vibration and how emotions or emotional struggles or emotional turmoil, even PTSD, all these things can be seen in the auric fields, right? Is your energy flowing or not flowing, okay? That's all it is. When I see somebody who has a lot of PTSD, it's just like they're closing themselves off at different various points in their field for where light is trying to enter. And it's a way that their ego has developed to protect themselves from what they think that energy is going to do to them, when it's just light, and the greatest pain that they're doing is resisting that light that's coming in, and that's what's causing them the true suffering, for example. Alrighty, friends. Thank you again. So looking forward to all of this. And again, we're going to be talking more about the colors. I'll be posting probably blogs, just talking a little bit about just generally the colors. General breakdown. Again, there's so much based on each color, so it's going to have to be a template. And what you'll find is that through the readings with other people on the group that you'll see is you'll develop more of an understanding. Okay, that's what the reds are like, that's what the oranges are like, that's what the blues are like, that's what the greens are like. We talked a little about reds and yellows and blues. Greens are very organizational. They do have a connection to nature, so there is that, but it's more like they will know all the nature facts. For example, their brain is like a system. Like when they are connect to somebody, this is why they're great in businesses as well. Even like CEOs too, or people who run businesses, because their mind just kind of systematically organizes things in a way that, because they organize it that way, they're able to understand it that way, and that's how they understand people that way too. So if you have like an indigo who's in a relationship with in a relationship with a green person, the indigo might be like a lot, just like, whoa, you think like so beyond, but the green has the capacity to kind of like break it down, kind of understand how this pieces together, and convey it in a pretty adequate way, in a very functional way. They're very grounded, they're very logical, and and they're very balanced in that sense that they're, they could be, earthbound people who know how to like run a business, but they also are emotionally aware, So love greens for that, by the way. Most of the greens on here will be tricolors or your double colors or triple colors. Yeah, and again, we'll go on, and then there's certain deviations of colors, like golds, for example. Golds are like prophets of this time, really. Osho was a gold. Nelson Mandela was a gold, for example. You don't just have a gold color, you evolve into a gold, things like that. There's certain colors that are unique, in that pink is very rare, pink's also a pretty rare, not like gold rare, and that's not an evolution of a color necessarily, but mostly children are pinks, and they usually come out of it, but if they can keep it, they're very identifiable people. Britney Spears is a pink. Anna Nicole Smith is a pink. I know a pink. There are lots of, the type, they always see the light in the world. They're always optimistic. They're always enthusiastic, even if it's like kind of like a lot going on in their own life, and it's a little bit chaotic sometimes, a little bit of a frenzy internally. Like they just don't know how to not see the positive and just like see the light and the beauty and the literal pink in the world. Like they literally love pink. So there's, it's literally like that in a lot of ways. Or colors can be like that, even blues, like they can be kind of down sometimes, they can be more depressed and they're more empathic, and you think of the color blue when you think of that, Violets, they're like visionaries, they are intuitive, they're spiritual, things like that, and it's fun to talk about these things, There are also, again, like this different spectrum of colors. So a lot of you, I'll just be calling you yellows because I just want you guys to understand when you're looking at a yellow person. If I were to show children, when I'm talking to kids about seeing aura colors, I'm like, what color do you see on this person? They'll say yellow. When they're really sometimes like a what they're called like tan spectrum people. They have like loving tans or abstract tans, environmental tans. There's like different types of tans, but they're really like yellows, and they kind of blend into certain other colors as well. So it gets a little bit, different there, but not being called to really distinguish that right now, because what we need to just understand is just the primary basic colors, right? And then you'll be able to tell, okay, well, this person's yellow looks more tan because of this aspect of their personality, which doesn't make them less of a person, by the way. It just makes them more equipped for the role in their life that they are fulfilling. So if they become in alignment in their life, they're not necessarily going to become yellow. They're just going to become an in alignment loving tan. That's great for whatever, their job is, for example, okay? So it's 11:11. I guess that means that it's time for the video to be done. Peace and love to all of you guys. Take care, and looking forward to this this journey together. Peace.